part of. So on her behalf, I extend an apology, but also she wishes you all well on this journey. Together on this team, we have Suzanne Stokes and Christine Greener and myself. We are all counselors in the College of Health Science, and we will be here hosting the session with you today. So Suzanne will take us through the first part, and I'll come into the second part. And yeah, just enjoy and feel free to please interact with us. Thank you.
Absolutely agree with that. It is lovely to be with you guys this afternoon. So Lenine mentioned that it's going to be a little informal. Well, my little talk is going to be a little more structured and a little bit formal. It's a little bit by the book, as I will be speaking a little bit about our services. I'm going to give you a little bit of a history as to where we come from higher education and what we offer you as you progress through your journey. I am going to be switching off my video just to assist with the bandwidth. So I am still present. I am not disappearing. But if there is anything that I may miss, maybe a raised hand, just alert me to that. All right. So yeah, higher education had to respond, and be better prepared to address the needs of students. And we see that this higher education landscape has shifted over the last couple of years, since our students bring these diverse and complex personal histories. And we at Student Support Services have identified that no single support strategy will apply to all our students. As Tinto has said, student success doesn't happen by chance. Student Support Services is focused on improving student success through intentional, structured, coherent, collaborated, and resource strategies. So we plan our support based on your needs and what is meaningful to you and your journey. And so we've seen that the changes in higher education means that we're having to ensure that student success cannot be business as usual. We're responding to not just a single strategy, but a strategy that is collaborated and coordinated from first year within the undergraduate years, as well as within the postgraduate years. All right, my colleagues are going to interject if I do miss on something. So let me just share in an overview. We know that students frequently experience a range of stresses within their lives, whether it's linked to academics, emotional health, environmental, financial issues. While most students would cope adequately with all of these demands within life, some will experience feelings of being overwhelmed. We find that without constructive help, students' emotional well-being, their academic performance, and their wellness, their vitality may be threatened. And Student Support Services aims to assist students in regaining that balance that is needed and to develop those necessary skills to cope with that demands of university life, of our personal lives, and our professional lives. So in a quick nutshell, Student Support Services in higher education, this is what our purpose is. We play three essential roles. We support students and enhance wellness, holistic growth, and development. We aim to limit and prevent premature dropout and failure, and you will see later on the type of guidance, counseling, and psychotherapy that we offer. So how do we do this? We do this through a range of interventions. And I'll show you in a moment how this program would look like in a nice little flow chart, but we spend time in getting to know our students. And I am going to quickly share with you if I want to find out just by my colleague, Willie, if I can maybe share the needs analysis now, because this is one of the things that hey.
Yes, you may, so I had planned just to release it as soon as we can up front.
Perfect.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. So I'm going to be releasing a link that speaks to getting to know our students. So thank you so much, Lenine. So we spend a little bit of time and we use our needs analysis. We also do some assessments, And from this information, we then prioritize the personal needs of our students. We look at creating spaces, learning communities, individual spaces, such as our private confidential therapeutic spaces, where we enable and empower our clients. Yeah, so I do hope I've managed to address everything on that slide. So what is your role? So we, as you could see with the previous slide, this is our role, this is our purpose, what we're offering. What we're hoping our students to, to fill in the role and the responsibilities of the student. You're central to your success. You know what is best for you. You know what it is that you're hoping for from this journey. Your postgraduate journey comprises of this range of experiences, challenges, and highlights that I alluded to very briefly. Your role is to ensure that you're achieving your goals, adapting those goals as you progress, as you're working through them, and know what is expected of you and how to successfully cope with those demands of your study program. This program that we're currently attending offers you amazing flag posts as to what else you should be considering and developing as you progress through the next stage in your academic career. We hope that you display the appropriate attitude and behavior in the work ethic for success. And there will be times where you're hoping to develop certain values and qualities aimed at being at achieving that success. So it's also, I'm thinking I'm speaking to that self-awareness, knowing what I'm hoping for. Most importantly, you will need to be physically and mentally healthy to remain successful in your studies. And there I would like to just mention, like being holistically well, taking that responsibility, knowing, okay, this is some space in my life that I'm not okay in. Let me go and take, reach out for help. Asking for the kind of assistance and guidance that I need in order to adapt to this new situation, this new transition in my life. And we're hoping that you prioritize your wellness. And this is that first step in ensuring your success. So this is that holistic wellness that I was just alluding to. There's different parts of us as an individual. We have that spiritual, intellectual, emotional, physical, cultural, social, occupational, environmental parts to ourselves. And when one part is not well, it will influence another part. It's kind of like we get unsettled and the equilibrium kind of, gets swayed a little bit. So either a catalyst or, a guide or an ally comes to you, in this journey and kind of assists you in rebalancing, what's been unbalanced. So I've got a quote here that says the literature suggests a strong link between student wellness and academic success. And they also continue to say that they note a higher increase in absenteeism when our wellness, decreases. So when you're avoiding to doing things, when you're, procrastinating, going to the gym, or, you're finding yourself doing things that was not on your to-do list and you're just not getting your tasks done. It's kind of like those alarm bells that we're avoiding certain tasks or we're not attending to things, as well as calling into our work sick or just delaying certain things is kind of a red flag to say things are not okay. All right, so this is a wellness program that we've put together for our postgraduates, and it starts at the point of orientation. So some of you may have seen me at orientation, or Mrs. Wilganithi Thaver or Miss Christy Greener, and we kind of presented at orientation where your journey with us starts, where we speak about transition and adjustment, and throughout the program, we then speak to an extended orientation program where we offer a range of activities within a program. So yeah, we've got a marketing strategy. You will be included onto a Moodle program where we will share our services, some interesting activities. as well as a wellness assessment, amongst many other things. We also have an academic support program within the university, which I do know that you would have been spoken to about. You also have the mentoring program, and you have this doctoral academy. Yeah. We also offer some of our workshops, not just within the day program, but also within the evening program. So you will see invites of a On the Couch series or a mental health reset program that's focused on unique skills or talking points, or creating a space where students get together to talk about a common challenge, or something that they want to learn how to do differently or more of, or stop doing. So we offer late afternoon, early evening sessions as well. And then I spoke a little bit about the wellness assessment, where we identify your holistic needs, and we share the assessment link to you via Moodle. You will receive an invite as well as a reminder to complete this compulsory assessment. It is a self-report measure, which means that you reflect on questions and you answer according to how you are. And we take the results and we profile them and we identify unique needs, and then we offer you a tailored intervention. Throughout your studies, we also track and monitor you through the help of your academic leaders, to try and identify students requiring additional assistance following underperformance, or just to stay on track. Okay, so I do see the question, very good question, and I'm going to be holding that question in for the end of the program. I don't have the direct information on the academic support program, but the academic skills. So we do have the Doctorate Academy that has unique skills, a training program for your research. Within your Moodle module, you've got certain things there. I think it is Dr. Shanuka and Dr. Sorella Rumclass that also host things. So I will leave that further conversation with Lenine and the rest of the team to speak about the academic. Hey, Willie.
Yeah, and so in addition to what is already in place through the academy and the academic team, if we have, there might be gaps which we will pick up through the needs assessment, and then we could offer some of the academic skills if necessary.
Absolutely agreed. Yeah. And again, like as much as we have the wellness assessment, we still have the orientation program, the extended orientation program, where we share certain surveys to identify those unique needs. So this is just a very powerful metaphor that speaks to aspects that impact performance. And a lot of the time, academics tend to work a lot on the overt issues within the classroom. And academia tend to say, well, why aren't these students performing? And we don't see the other issues that students are facing that are outside of the classroom. And most of the challenges students experience are outside classroom experiences. We call that, the hidden curriculum. So these are, and I will allude to that in a quick moment. We call that those experiences of students, such as relationship challenges, family issues, grief and bereavement, substance issues, trauma and crises. So there is a long list of experiences that our students share with us that speak to the outside of the classroom experiences. So you may have the right kind of learning strategies and the ability to write well, but there are certain factors that do impact our performance that cannot be addressed within the classroom. And this is just a sample of what our postgraduate students have shared with us. And this is, and it's not limited to this, but it's also such as accessing support services during the day. I mean, we've got full workday programs. So it's like, how do we access the support? Trauma experiences within the lab, crime, possible threat. bullying in the workplace, transition, moving away from home. Perhaps you had been in another province and now you're in a, just do give me a quick second, I've got an interruption. I sincerely apologize. I do apologize. So moving away from home, from another province, perhaps another town, having to make new friends, having to adjust again, perhaps the last time you studied was 10 years ago, having now to balance family, academics, and the workplace demands, financial constraints, mental vitality and wellness, completing your research components. Yeah, so this is just a pinhead of all our student experiences. And I know that I might not do justice in identifying all of these, but certainly, we are aware that there are those experiences that will impact our performance. We've seen this play out in the pandemic, the lockdown, having to adjust and find new ways of working and learning. And we saw the impact of this on our online learning. The stress of the pandemic and isolation during lockdown within our family spaces, within our community spaces, our school communities, our workplaces, so having again to transition and adjust to all of that. We surveyed postgraduates and we asked them to share a little bit about their experiences. And the primary theme that we picked up was that heightened sense of anxiety and worry, panic and fear. And we know that this had been, consistently over a long period of time, which led to mental health issues, perhaps not having a mental health condition prior to the pandemic and now having to adjust and manage the spin-off of that. Yeah. Challenges with online learning, data, devices, connectivity strengths, having a quiet space to actually sit and learn and complete tasks. Perhaps, having those dual responsibilities in the workplace, in the home space. So as you're working on research, knowing that you need to get to the lab, you have your children asking you for lunch or cool drink or something, it's having to adjust to those. And obviously ESCOM and telecom issues or some type of connectivity. Learning environments, home responsibilities were one of the major themes that came through, having that negative impact on our ability to progress through our studies. And now we're seeing a huge shift and more conversations about this work-life integration and blurred boundaries. I am very conscious of time. So the rest of the presentation, I'm going to be just touching on a little bit briefly in terms of our services that we offer you and addressing all of that. And I see, and thank you so much for responding in the chat, that these students' experiences are identifiable. Yeah. So we offer free, professional, confidential counseling. At the moment, we offer online, and we're shifting more to a blended approach. We do know that the postgraduates' preferred means at this moment is online. So it would be quite interesting to see how our blended services will progress. And this is just a sample of the services that we offer. Personal counseling, therapy, careers, looking at your career planning, looking at wellness support, along with everything else. And we also look at that transition to of our services. Yes, so this is speaking to how we've had to adjust and offer that range of services. So how do we do it at Student Support Services? So we offer online telehealth services. So that's what we call the online psychotherapy and counseling. We offer through a range of services. So we predominantly doing it through Zoom video or voice calls, and to a lower amount email sessions. We also offer group skills sessions, just like what we're doing today. We do these interactive webinars, information giving, psychoeducation, skill development, and our Moodle module. And we offer a exit orientation and a graduate recruitment program for our graduates as they progress through to the end of their degree. We also note that there are students that will require additional assistance, students that have been flagged as living with an impairment that could impact their academic performance and performance within the workplace. And we prescribe to certain regulations that speak to protecting both the professional as well as the patient or the clientele that we're serving. So the College of Health Sciences has established a process to manage impaired practitioners, and it involves an inclusive range of support interventions, outside referrals, and psychotherapy. Yeah. You also have access to the university-wide services. So we're just one little entity, Student Support Services, the SSS. And I'll talk a little bit more about who we are and how to get in contact with us. You also have the student health services, the campus clinic, HIV and AIDS services, disability and occupational health. Disability will look at academic concessions. If you had received concessions prior to your university studies or during your university studies, and you feel you would benefit from that, let us know. We will assist you in the referral to the disability support services. All right, so I'm just going to quickly shift over to my other slide here. So who or what is a student counselor? All right, so we're trained and registered professionals. We are either psychologists or clinical social workers, and we offer a range of interventions, which you've just seen with our students. We help our students identify within themselves what support services they would need to develop holistically into these professional healthcare practitioners. And we also encourage and empower our students and clients to remain in control of their journey at university. Okay, so what does this mean? All right, so we explore with our clients their best hopes for their therapeutic journey. The time that they spend with us, we explore appropriate treatments, and sometimes we diagnose mental, academic, emotional, behavioral disorders. And we at times make referrals to outside therapists and psychiatrists, clinics, and even treatment facilities. So we also equip our clients and students with skills and strategies to manage the demands of life, both personally and professionally. So who is this team? So this is your Durban-based team. We've got Ms. Christy Greener, myself, Suzanne Stokes, and Mrs. Wilganese Thaver. And we also have an extended support team out into the decentralized clinical training platforms. We have Ms. Mpumzi Tembu, Linda Kukle-Makonza, Tokozani Satoli, and Charlene Cody. So I see there was a question, how do we get in contact with student support services? So you are most welcome to call our toll-free line to secure an appointment. And the number is 080-080-0017. Follow the voice prompts on the line. A front desk administrator will receive your call and assist you in booking your appointment. Or you could go, email route on chs.sss@ukzn.ac.za. All right. We also have, RMS support. So should you find yourself on campus requiring any assistance, whether it is for a medical emergency or a security issue, you are most welcome to contact them, as well as contacting them on the panic button. And I'm just looking to see if I've got that information there. There we go. So that is what the UKZN panic button looks like. Download the UKZN app and they are quite responsive. Let's see. If you are a medical doctor, we also have the Discovery Medical Students Helpline on 0800 323 323. If you're in the other fields of the health sciences fields, you also have the SADAG group, the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, and they're available on 0800 12 13 14 or 0800 456 789. They offer free telephonic counseling nationwide, and they also assist in referrals, and they do get in contact with us when our students consult with them. It's a 24-hour service, open 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and they offer it telephonically. They provide crisis intervention and suicide prevention. And yeah, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Mrs. Wilkenise Thaver. We've got a part 2, and I do hope I've done justice to that. It was absolutely amazing having you guys. Yes, Will.
So you have. So I just wanted you to share that the app quickly. So it is a very important app for all our students, and I believe that most of our students, our postgrads, might not really know about this. It's a free app that you can download. It's called My UKZN app, and basically it will, if you are within 50 kilometers of the university, and if you are in need of support and assistance, you could actually get onto this app, and immediately an alert will go straight through to RMS indicating that you are in trouble. It could be for a number of reasons. It could be, an assault, it could be a robbery, it could be any number of aspects that renders you at risk, and RMS will immediately locate you. The app allows for your location to be identified, and they will be able to send out support to you. So it's actually a really, really good app to have on hand. So thank you for that. I'll just share my screen and try and get through my presentation. But in the meantime, if I could ask that we complete the poll, the needs assessment, I would really appreciate that. It'll give us some kind of feedback in terms of what your needs are. Okay, so greetings again, and I'm really, really thrilled to be here with you. I'm going to just try and go through the presentation as quickly as I can. There are some overlaps between what Suzanne has shared with you and here, not intentional overlaps, but it's speaking to what we in student support services brings to you. My presentation is to go a little bit more in detail in terms of what our services are expanded into and how you can access our strategies, and for you to just learn exactly, how far we have gone in taking our students' concerns seriously and the kinds of strategies that we have put into place. So basically, I'm just going to aim to quickly unpack some of the services in place. I would love to get to know who we have on this platform. Suzanne's touched on the lockdown survey. I will try and share a little bit more with you on that. I want to share with you what is the student wellness and academic transformation program all about. You will basically have an idea of some of the aspects that we look at. I'm going to try and spend a little bit more time on preparing you for this journey, this postgrad journey, and hopefully you are already populating the needs assessment. We'll share with you, we've already started sharing with you how you can access our support, and hopefully we'll have time to get through to an evaluation. So today's session was basically aimed at you meeting the team from student support and understanding who we are and what we can do for you on this journey. So let me just quickly can you help get, share with us who we have on this platform? Just a few quick questions, and perhaps if you can, give us a thumbs up for a yes or a thumbs down for a no. You can probably unmute if you would like, or you can even place your feedback on the chat. I see some of you have been quite active on the chat. So just to get a feel of who our students are. So, and my colleagues will help to just share quick feedback. So I guess my first question would be, how many of you here on this platform are registered for the very first time into this program? So this is your first year on this journey. So I'm hoping we can see some thumbs up. Colleagues, just know that I can't see.
So we have 3 raised hands so far. Absolutely amazing.
So that means majority of the students on this platform are actually returning students. Am I
We
correct to
have a
assume
few
that?
more. Yeah, so we've got a few more, so just under 10 right now in both the chat and hands raised, and yeah, so it's a 6th of the group.
Okay, so if I had to ask how many of you are returning student, I suppose the 55 odd would probably be returning, and that's something very special for us as student support to know. You know, it actually helps to get to know who our students are a little bit better. So then obviously the next question I was going to ask you was, when last were you a student? So obviously for the majority of you, you've been a student in the last few years, or at least last year. But for those of you who are returning to the program, I would love to just have an idea, when last were you a student? And I see lots is happening in the chat space, so I'm not sure, Suzanne, if you'll be able to follow up on that.
Yeah, so the last I studied was 2 years ago, 2007, 2007 as masters, 2016, 2010, 2019. So it's quite a huge mix. So it's not so long ago and a long time ago.
Okay, so these are very critical questions, because surely it's going to let us understand the kinds of feelings you're coming into this program with. And how many of you are in full-time employment? Because obviously being in full-time employment and being part of an intensive program of this nature has its unique challenges and needs.
Okay, so we got a significant more yeses. So you can just say yes or full-time, thumbs up, definitely. So it's a huge number in full-time.
Huge number of our students are in full-time employment, meaning that there's limited time to focus on this program, which means that they have to be very strategic in how they actually, carry out the days going ahead. I'm not sure how many of you are from out of our province, far, far away from where we are and having to contact our university only online. I would love to just get a feel of our students that are far away from KZN.
So we have international.
Yep.
Yeah.
So international would be from where?
Dubai.
Interesting.
I've got one that says I am out of South Africa, Nigeria, Zambia. Then we've got more local. Okay, we've got Kenya, Nigeria, Lesotho, Namibia, fully online. Okay, wow. And then we've got local. We've got the Free State, Eastern Cape, Stadterrijn. We've got Gauteng, up in UP.
Yeah. So that's a real clear indication that lots of our students are now going to be on the doorstep of one of our campuses, so it means navigating this journey from a distance, majorly online. And I want to ask the returning students, have you heard of SSS prior to today? Have you heard of us, and have you accessed our services before today?
We got a couple of no's. That the no's were very quick. They came quick first. No. I have and accessed them before. Someone said yes, attended last year.
Lovely.
Perfect.
So this is important to us, and therefore we it's just so that we know that you all will leave here today knowing that you have this incredible support team in place. Before I proceed, I'd just like to have an idea. How are you feeling now, or how are you feeling thus far since you started this journey? If you had to describe a feeling about this particular journey, what would it be?
Okay, so we've got a couple of responses. And do you know this is a slightly more personal question, so you're most welcome to also private message us. We've got lonely, exciting, I'm part of a bigger community, anxious for the first time, overwhelmed at times. So mixed feelings, anxious and excited, overwhelmed, less confused. So that's positive. But it also felt like a lot of time was wasted. So there was a lot of uncertainty. I'm trying to put that into an emotion, a feeling. Too early to tell, mixed feelings, positive and looking forward, overwhelmed, emotionally draining, overwhelming, excited, but with some fear of the unknown. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, so you can keep it coming, and we will certainly hold on to all your feedback as valuable in terms of our ongoing preparation for you. And just to come back to what Suzanne said earlier, we want you to be successful, and we know that being successful in this journey is not going to happen by chance, but it's going to take particular strategies, especially since what you have just shared with us in terms of returning to the study program after a while, feeling overwhelmed and anxious, being in full-time employment, etc. So, I just wanted to share that, our strategies of support are basically based on national, international, as well as local research, where we have found that, particularly in a study done at our university, that we needed to explore what were the factors that were impacting student success. And a study found that there were several factors impacting student success. And based on this, we had developed this intensive strategy that we have in the College of Health Science. It was mainly focused on our undergrad students, but for the last few years, with the increase in the number of our postgraduate students and the many diverse challenges that our postgrad students experience, we've then extended this support to our postgrad students. So I just want to go back into a year that started off as being absolutely brilliant and exciting. We had this absolute anticipation for 2020, a year that looked bold, and it looked beautiful, and we had so much of hope and promises for that year. And if you go back into 2020 and you think about what you were doing on the New Year Eve, I'm sure you will recall how you felt, the promises, the resolutions that you made, the vision that you had for that year with such infinite possibilities. We all felt somewhat prepared for so many possibilities. However, whilst we looked forward to the many possibilities, we did not expect, nor could we be prepared for what the coronavirus brought us. And whilst we each in our unique roles had to adapt and we had to learn, our experiences as a collective were very similar. And you are so familiar with all of this, that the lockdown has caused us to bring in a series of changes into the way we implement our safety and our survival. A lot that has happened was overwhelming, was unfamiliar, was isolating. We had to, although through it all, we had to adjust, and we had to find new ways of moving forward into the new normal. And I think if I did this presentation maybe a year ago, I would have thought that we would probably be out of all of this by now and probably be adjusting to a life that we will have been used to and accustomed to without all of these aids. But it seems that this is actually our new normal. So for us at Student Support Services, we needed to get our feet on the ground as quickly as possible. And we had to figure out what this meant for our students. So our unique intervention at that time was to understand the needs of our students during the lockdown and the pandemic. However, whilst the national shutdown is over, we are far from being okay. We've lived through the lockdown. We've lived through the varying levels of the lockdown. We've lived through wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and possibly an anticipated 5th wave, or possibly a shift in our mindset and to adjust to our lives with COVID hovering around us for a long time to come. So our lives have altered drastically. And we also needed to adjust our way of working and addressing our students' needs, not just for the moment, but for the future, because COVID has impacted all facets of our lives. And it's highly unlikely that we will ever transition to the pre-2020 state. So in the next few slides, I'll share with you the effort that we have made to get to know what is happening with our postgraduate students. Suzanne talked to you about the lockdown survey that we implemented, and just to give you an idea of some of the questions that we had asked our students. If you were with us in 2020, 2021, you probably would have responded to the survey. Your voices would have been captured. If you didn't manage to get to the survey, perhaps you can just use this opportunity to reflect on these questions, because I certainly believe that we all need to be debriefed from our COVID experience. It will also help to just clarify our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, and perhaps it can serve as a guide to determine whether we require additional support going forward. So the survey commenced with questions that was just focusing on just overall personal experiences, and such as what's on the slide. But I'm not going to go into each one in detail. You may have a look at the slide, okay? So when we then moved on to questions that focused on the impact that this had, COVID and the lockdown, the impact that all of this had on your family, on your work, on your studies, on the support that you accessed. And we prepared a host of questions that covered all areas of these aspects. In addition to that, we moved on to finding a way to help you move forward, a way to help you look at healing and returning to normality, such as some of the aspects that's on the slide in front of you. I'm sure this recording will be made available, so you'll have more time to probably go into the slides in detail. And Suzanne also touched a little bit on some of the feedback that we received from you. This slide is sharing some of the feedback in terms of the emotions, your concerns during the lockdown, the challenges that you experienced. And I recall a student even populating the chat to say, I can identify with all of these. So we received 139 responses from our postgrad students between 2020 and 2011. And we also have feedback from you that goes into 114 pages. And this gave us an opportunity to truly understand the unique needs and the unique challenges that our postgrad students were experiencing. And I won't be able to go into all because of the time, because of the time frame that we have here, but I'll certainly share very briefly some of the responses. And as you can see, what's up on the slide, some of the feelings were from anxiety to being scared, frustrated, worried, nervous and shocked, experiencing grief, losing loved ones, and having to deal with this in isolation. Lots of feelings, and a student even talked about feeling thankful at some point during that journey. There were lots of concerns about, especially for our international students who couldn't make their way home, not being able to see family, or lots of students talked about failing the academic year because they really didn't know what to expect. They didn't know what was going to happen. We were losing a time on the academic calendar, etc. And then there were these unique challenges of being at home, no internet, no network access, the environment itself just not being conducive, and a host of aspects. And we asked a question about what role did you play during the lockdown, and many of our students indicated that they were either breadwinners, they became caregivers, they were running a household. Many of our students were essential services employees, either doctors, nurses, or healthcare practitioners. You were a spouse, a parent, became a teacher, nanny, and to top it all, a student. So you had multiple roles during this period. And we asked what were the fears and worries that were mentioned by family and friends once you return home at the end of the day. And there were these fears of job loss, becoming infected, bringing COVID home, etc. So there's lots on this slide that you can read through, but there were lots of fears that our students shared. And the biggest fear was, will this thing really ever be over? Will life ever be normal again? And that was very powerful to us. We asked our students what support they accessed during this period, because we were very active. We had tried to engage with all our students in every kind of social media platform that we could. And students did share that they had contact with their head of department or supervisors or the academic mentor, librarians, etc., and the counselors. Some did say that they did not access support, and some indicated that they had to access psychiatric or psychological services externally. We wondered why you wouldn't have accessed counseling, and some of the reasons were that students did not know about student support services, didn't know about the facility, or you were too busy and you were not aware that it was available remotely. A lot of students, even undergrad students, indicated that when we went online, they didn't know that they had such easy access to us. So just to let you know that we are as easily available as if we were still, at our office space. But I would say that we actually are 500% more available to our students on this platform. I'm going to touch on the student wellness and academic transformation. Suzanne touched on what it is. It's a program that we have in place where we look at your needs holistically across the wellness domain. Our intention is to timelessly identify your gaps, your challenges, your difficulties. If we know upfront what are some of the aspects you are dealing with, whether it is a relationship, family aspect, your adjustment, or whether it's related to gender, sexuality, your finances, your, the way you manage your program and yourself, whether it is to do with your academic domain, your collaboration between your supervisor, accessing of resources for the academic progress, whatever it is, including aspects regarding to occupation, environmental, spiritual, and finally regarding your physical and mental health and wellness. We would hope that once you have access to this, you would share with us how you are coping, and we will not wait for the year to pass without us intervening timelessly to ensure that we offer you the support you need to find that balance once again in order to just get back onto the academic journey. So that is the purpose of this survey. Well, it's a wellness assessment, and we certainly will be releasing it to all of you very, very shortly. So that covers a little bit about some of our services and our strategies. I would like to just touch on some of the tips to guide you in this postgrad journey. I often ask our students this question in orientation, who is a postgrad student, and, what are the needs of a postgrad student? And, I think it's so important that you unpack who you are and what makes you different to a student, because yes, you are a student, but you're a student with unique needs. So a postgrad is a student who has successfully completed undergrad degree and is undertaking further studies at a more advanced level. However, we also know that a postgrad student's needs are very different to an undergrad student by the very virtue of your established roles and the multiple responsibilities that you have to fulfill. So it is absolutely highly unlikely that you are solely a student. And therefore, I love this quotation from a postgrad student who says, "Besides my studies, so many other things need my attention." I can't just every time say that I am studying, that I can't do the things I have, that I can't do other things. I have a family life and all of the other things and a social life. So my whole life can't just revolve around the studies. So I give to each part of my life that what I think is good enough. So for me, this is very powerful, and I think it's something that you need to look at the multiple roles that you are having to fulfill, and how are you going to make certain that you manage to maintain this balance and still be able to be successful in this journey. So I'm sure that the support group here, this particular program that has been planned for you by Lenine and team, and Student Support Services plays an active role this year, will address many of the aspects that we've touched on, that I'm going to still touch on. But so therefore I'm not going to go into detail, but I want to share with you, just touch on some of this aspects that I think as a beginning of this journey you would need to become aware of. Okay, so these are important aspects. Number one is relationship between a doctoral student and his or her supervisor is certainly a unique one. It demands concerted effort and sacrifice on the part of both people. So important to note is how you would choose a supervisor, what can you reasonably expect from your supervisor, and what should you expect to give your supervisor in return. And sometimes we have a breakdown in the relationship. And what happens if we do experience this? How do we handle this? Who do we go to, etc.? So just to wrap up on the supervisor aspect, the ideal supervisor will be experienced in your field of study, interested in your topic, will be empathic, and be able to offer the appropriate support and guidance that you require. So, so make an appointment immediately to discuss with your supervisor ideas that you might have. Try to create a good impression. So, for example, go into your meeting prepared. Go into your meeting with a mind map of your topics, or take along readings that you think will be appropriate. Secondly, students tend to function on the need to know basis. In other words, when you need to know something, then you will find out about it. And there are two problems, of course, with this strategy. Firstly, we seldom know that there is something that we do not know. And secondly, we find that by the time we needed to know something, it had become urgent. So I know with postgrad students, the issues of funding and accessing of the university resources, etc., could be aspects that you struggle with. So I don't think you must sit back and wait until it becomes a crisis. Go ahead and be proactive and find out about it as soon as you possibly can. And thirdly, I want to just talk about giving to each part of your life. As an adult learner, we have many demands upon us, and all seem to be the most important. So you need to develop an attitude of giving to each part what is good enough. There is a nice balance if you take on this approach. So sometimes you involve your family so that you can finish the chapter that you are working with for your supervisor. At another time, this chapter that you need to hand in will need to actually wait because your family needs you more at this particular time. So you need to be realistic about how much of time you will be able to spend on your thesis or your studies. And you need to consider work and family demands and set yourself realistic deadlines for completing this degree. Would your supervisor set realistic short-term, medium-term deadlines? Try to meet these deadlines, but not at the cost of your health or your sanity or that of your family. Especially don't wait for the right time before you begin your work, because there will never be the right time. It's the right time is actually right now. Successful studying is like eating this elephant, a mouthful at a time. You're not going to ever find huge blocks of free time in your day. It's very highly unlikely that's going to happen. So the secret is for you to work systematically for short periods where you can. And I remember being at your session last week when somebody spoke about, even if you decide I'm going to work 45 minutes a day, make certain that you do it every day. When you don't work regularly, you will find that all your energy goes into the effort of now getting started again. So, so you just want to be productive and keep a good momentum going. You might reach a point where, you just can't go on. So it is important to acknowledge that. It is important to take a break and leave things behind. Go away, read a novel, read a magazine, just take a little bit of a break, recoup, get back your energy so that you'll be better able to focus on your studies. So I'm just mindful of my time and I'm already on 4:30. So that is a bit, so I'll just I'm almost to the end of this, and perhaps we can release the evaluation at this point, and then we will still have time for students to respond, and we can respond to questions. So just to quickly share with you, especially for those who are first time in the program, and also for those who are in the program, over a period of time, but are feeling stuck, how do you go forward? So just some of the pointers for you to take a note of. When you plan this journey, when you plan to go on a journey, you will usually ask a family friend or a friend who is familiar with this route to give you tips to find your way around, okay? So let's treat this journey here as similarly, with graduation being this destination that you wish to reach. So let's look at how we can get the best support that we can, and talk to other people who've traveled this route before as well. And the tips that I'm sharing with you are actually from postgrad students who have come through this very grueling journey. So first of all, organize a quiet, private place to work in. Just to quickly go on to that, if the dining room table won't do, because you'll always have to pack up and unpack when you're needing to start working again. Not all of us have the privilege of, a study. So just a suggestion, screen off a section in your room, or get a little working area for yourself that is your space and nobody else interferes with, that you can label as your work in progress space. You can leave things lying around, and nobody needs to touch it, because it can probably become a bit chaotic, but you will know where everything is at one go. So try to find yourself a space to work in. Read the thesis of people who have written in your field. It is invaluable to have examples of how other people have arranged their arguments and addressed a tricky issue or wrote with an academic voice. When you have supervision sessions with your supervisor, find out if it's okay to tape the session, so then you can transcribe this and you can go back and you can listen to this over and over again. And this will basically help you to remember what the supervision session was all about. Remember, your supervisor models appropriate discourse for your topic. So listening to your supervision sessions will help you to understand and use the language that's appropriate in your field. Make certain that you take clear notes of everything from the very beginning, especially your bibliography. This is so important. You don't want to, at the end of it all, start scratching around for where did I get this quotation? What was the gender of this author? Because you need to get into the habit of writing down your bibliographical details from the very beginning. You can actually, on the space that you're working at, you can do sticky notes on your wall. You can have an outline of your progress or your steps that you're taking on your wall, because sometimes you have the oddest of ideas in the oddest of spaces. And then if you don't quickly put it down, you tend to forget it. So it's nice to have something glaring back at you that, you could always, every time you look at it, it's going to remind you, and you can actually monitor your progress through that. Very importantly, save your work regularly, save it on different devices, and date your section so you do not hand in work that is not your latest version. I can't stress this enough, because a lot of students have lost research through robberies and etc. So very important, this journey can seem lonely and isolating. You might have to find ways to keep yourself motivated. If you are funded, that is one of the reasons you won't be able to give up. So I would recommend that, you try to keep going, liaise with postgrad students who have come through this, have conversations with your families, your support system, so that they can offer you all the support you need to be able to make a success of this journey. And most of all, remember, this is doable. Many students before you have succeeded, have done this. So there are people to help you. If you don't understand something, ask your lecturer, ask your supervisors, ask your peers. If you need advice with your study skills, we have academic development officers, we have the PPOs, we have student support services. Lenine will be able to tell you a lot more of the academic support strategies in place. If you need help with your mental health and adjusting to university, the personal, emotional aspects that many of you experience, you can certainly tap into us as student support services. So despite all the services that we offer and our interventions, we notice that the uptake is poor, and students often delay seeking assistance when they require it. And as a result, they come in a time of crisis. And often if you come in when it's crisis, it's too late to actually offer you a full range of support. We're basically looking at intervention just to minimize the impact of the crisis. So all I want to say is, please note that you can do it. You will reach your destination and you will graduate. This journey is very, very important. Do not leave things to the last minute. Make time to address any concerns that you have, and make time to just talk things through. And often just talking to someone is actually helps you to just unpack the answers you need. So Suzanne shared with you our toll-free number. The evaluation link has been released to you, just to share with you, for you to share with us how we've done. I'm sorry I've gone over 6 minutes of time. We did start slightly late, so I do apologize. That brings me to the end of my presentation. The whole idea was to share with you some tips, some strategies on this journey, and to share with you what we have in place so you will understand the extent that we go through to support our students. Whether you're postgraduate or undergraduate, every student in our college is equally important to us. So on that note, I want to say thank you, and I'm not sure if there's any questions. I'm happy to take any questions. Suzanne's here with me as well.
So while we wait for questions, just to reflect, the students naturally started pulling towards what they found unique about themselves during the lockdown process from 2020, as you were speaking, and that was just so amazing to see, the transition and how we evolved during that process.
Yeah, so I deliberately shared the part of the lockdown feedback. I know the lockdown's over. I know students are, have come away from that, but the impact of that period of our life is something that we're going to probably feel for a long time to come. And I do believe that, we might just need to talk it through, get through the debriefing in terms of the multiple roles that we've played, etc. So so I do think it's not something that we could avoid including in the session. So thanks for allowing me to share that. Yeah, so I'm not sure if there's anything else, but I see Colleen has a hand up.
Big hand.
Yeah. Yes, thank you so much for, it was uplifting, and I could see from the comments, this is such an important effort. I mean, a lot of people have said to me, we've got the Doctoral Academy, what do you need the PhD support group? And I said, it's equally important. And I'm beginning to think, maybe not, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's more important. But what I want to tell everybody before we leave is that recordings of these sessions are put up on the UKZN YouTube channel. So if you go to if you look up on YouTube, the YouTube channel for UKZN, within 24 to 48 hours, these talks are up there and available for you to see. We are trying to find somebody to monitor the website, and then we'll put the links for these talks in the website as well. So you can go back and look at these again, pick up the details, do those free screens so that you can go into the details and relive this experience. I just want to thank you very much once again. And I'm going to hand to Lenine. Thanks, Lenine. Amazing for arranging this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Colleen, and thank you to the SSS team. The information, I can't even, thank you so much for everything that you're doing for the students and for being involved in this program. I just want to add one more thing. Everyone here, everybody and your friends, please join us again next week. The SSS team will be here and covering a very, very important topic: how to manage balancing your work, life, and study schedule. I need that. So we'll see you here next week, Tuesday, 3:30. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Goodbye.
much for having us, and please don't forget to populate the needs assessment and the evaluation. It will really help us to know what more we need to do for you.
Hey, Willie,
thank
can everybody share the needs assessments as well? Share it amongst their friends and colleagues?
So yes, I've sent you the link, Lanine. You can actually send it through to the whole class.
I have, and I'm just the class themselves can share it to whomever as well.
And
The
I'd also
link.
like to add, maybe we should we should put out the same assessment maybe once every month or every 2 months, because we're going to have different people all the time attending these sessions.
Well, that might be useful. Okay, so we'll see you next week on Tuesday for the next PhD support group meeting at 3:30.
Thank you so much. Go well, everyone. Have a wonderful week.